So a lot of the stuff with Chainsaw Man, I will have to say, is that I am not one who really likes a lot of the excess fan service. That is just a me thing, though. It definitely has its place in fiction, and people are definitely welcome to enjoy that type of content. I myself personally, that's not really my type of thing. Now, do I own 11 volumes of the manga? Yes, but that is beside
Casual
the
flex
point.
right there.
Yeah,
Oh, look at
I
me,
need to
I
get the
read.
rest of it. I need to get the rest of it, but this is what I have right now. I bought it pretty recently. Um, but overall, I think outside of the ecchi, outside of that, I actually wait. Okay? Do you want me to just only talk about the manga, the anime, stay within the context of the anime, or do you okay if I go out farther out?
I'm fine with going further out, but we should probably mention that you haven't watched the anime, or you?
No, I have watched it. I
Okay,
haven't finished it
okay, fair.
because I have the manga,
And you read how
but
far into the manga?
I'm aware of the ending of Volume 11,
How many
like what I
volumes are
have
there?
basically. Um, basically until second half starts. So like Chainsaw Man's like split into two parts. So I
Yeah,
have all of that first half.
when that little chick comes up,
Before that,
that's
basic. Just so all y'all in the podcast know, we're talking about spoilers now. If y'all haven't watched past the anime,
we
so
should
basically, when I'm just letting you know, give them a heads up. But basically, at the very end, when Makima dies,
okay.
that is Volume 11. Volume 11 is the very beginning of that, and it basically segues into the second half, where we do meet the new person. Uh, but that part two doesn't start till volume 12 for the most part.
Do,
So
do you have any idea how
yes,
much of the second part is about Denji? Denji? Is it?
I mean it's still technically about Denji's still I haven't really again I haven't read part two, so I can't say for certain that I still think Denji's the main protagonist,
Yeah.
but do not quote me on that.
I've read up to that point and then a few chapters. I'm not sure how much. Whenever the anime was coming up, right before the anime came out, I read all of the manga that was available. I'm not sure how much that is. It's around that point either
Um,
way.
yeah, probably. That seems about right. When I first saw Chainsaw Man, like on the Shonen Jump app, I think it maybe had like 30 chapters, maybe. It's hard to say. I don't remember. It's been a while. But overall, with still talking about kind of my brain thought on it, like other than the ecchi part, the farther I got into the series, the more interested I got in it because I'm more of someone who enjoys more of the okay, even the fighting aspects, they're good, they're cool and all, but like that's not like really what I found was the most interesting. I actually enjoyed more of Makima's manipulation and how they used Denji to basically build them up to tear them apart. I found that very fascinating. I enjoyed that. Like that's the stuff I found cool. I mean, now does it change the fact of how good the series is? That can be different, but for me and my aspect of how they did that, I liked it because it has to do a lot of character building and character driven concepts of how characters grow. So I enjoyed that a lot. Now, did I really enjoy the part in what was it? It's in the second episode, I'm pretty sure. Second or third episode in the actual anime. I think. Maybe no. It's not second episode. It's basically it's everyone knows what I'm talking about, and that's the scene, the bathroom scene, and then after the bathroom scene. I think everyone understands if I say that.
With power?
Yes, with power
I
and then
think
with
that's a bit
Makima.
later.
I thought it was like episode two or three.
Might be three. I feel like it's a
Maybe
bit later.
three. Maybe three. I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because
I know it's in volume two.
the first episode is all about early
Yeah, it's the first volume.
Denji. It's I think it the second one starts with Denji joining, so it's probably in three
Yeah,
or
it's probably
four.
three.
Some
Yeah, three or
either way.
four. Yeah. Yeah. Well, everyone remembers that scene because we all know why. But
That's
yeah.
that's one thing. I may be just a bit more desensitized to it, but I really didn't feel like it was much fun service. Like it was there, especially in the manga. In the manga, perhaps it's just poorly drawn, hence the problem. But I don't feel like it was about fan service. In a weird way, it was tackling a subject that is core to a young man without milking it for the content. Or so I felt in the manga. In the anime, it's more so into the let's just throw fan service on the screen a bit. Though even then, I feel like I feel like it's not as egregious as a lot of other shows. You know?
I feel like for me, it still put me off a lot either way because I understand why they did it. Now, after I read more of it and I understand why, I think in some way after I understood that, appreciated it more. But I still, it's to me, it's just that's just not my type of content, and but people can enjoy what they want, you know. That's just not my type of thing.
Yeah, it's just a weird difference in perspective. I don't have a I occasionally enjoy it. Depends on the series, but I just didn't feel like it was the case here more so. Especially with Denji being all about like food and women. That's his thing. Which may, if I may, that's not really a character. Those are basic human emotions, but even then.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, all we know is at the very like the concept basically is that Pochita wants to see Denji's dreams, and one of Denji's dreams is that he did.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to explain more.
The whole Pochi thing feels kind of weird. We spent very very little time with him, so I have a
Yes,
hard time
in the
even
anime. Yes.
in the manga. He's there for like half a chapter. I think that's it.
Well, overall, within the concept of why Makima did what she wanted, so basically we know that Chainsaw Man basically is one of the only ways to get rid of devils. One way to get rid of them is that people no longer fear them, and the other way is that Chainsaw Man eats them. And
Yeah.
basically, Makima wants to be able to get rid of the other four horsemen, the three horsemen, because she herself is one. So she's trying to get rid of what's it. So it's death. I'm very bad at that what they are.
In the biblical or in this series? In this series, I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm just no. I just my brain is blanking, and it does this a lot when it's trying to remember very specific things.
In
And
uh, in
it
the
is war, famine, death, and pestilence
yeah,
of conquest.
that's in
Makima is conquest.
Mikey. Okay, I think that there was a problem in the translation I read, because from what I understood, Makima was uh, not corruption.
It's pestilence slash conquest that Makima is.
I never really I didn't even remember that. I only reread up to like chapter 50 something,
Okay.
when Santa Claus just appears on the screen a
I'm
chapter
trying
after.
to remember which volume it is. I'm picturing it. I think it's around 70
Oh yeah, it's in the late 70s when she.
when I think Makima takes Denji into to explain the
Oh yeah,
situation, but I
she has her typical bad guy monologue before dying,
yeah, I'm trying to
because the series
remember
is
where
very well written.
I'm looking for right now.
Yeah, it's in the late 70s.
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember exactly. I think it's like before Power, Power, Power. It's before Power, Power, Power. I know that. No, it's not in the 70s. 70s is with Aki, I think. I'm looking.
Is it
Anyway,
in
we can
the
continue the
80s?
conversation, but like basically that so as I said, basically four horsemen, they basically tried in the underworld, basically they were trying to I believe I don't remember they tried to kill Chainsaw Man or something like that originally, and then Chainsaw Man escaped in a weakened form as Pochita to Earth, and then the other sisters are trying to go find them. But we know Makima wants to try to rid the world of the fear of death, famine, and war, which inadvertently refers to her sisters, which are the four horsemen.
Yeah.
And I know that with Makima, like the reason why she made this what she did with Denji is because she needs Pochita to be able to get rid of the three fears, basically the other three horsemen. But they can't she can't separate Pochita from Denji unless Denji breaks the contract with Pochita. And for Denji to break the contract with Pochita, they have to give up on their dreams. So Makima, because Denji originally didn't have anything at this point other than he just, he's selling his organs and everything because he literally just needs to survive because he's all in all this debt and all that kind of stuff. But basically, she wants to build him up, give him to made him have a new family, this power, and then Aki, and then even herself, to build him up to where, he's happy about life, and then slowly take that away from him to make him lose all the dreams that he ever once wanted because what else is left if there's nothing else you want, you know? So in the
Yeah.
sense that basically she brings him up to crush him harder than he ever was at. So meaning, turning Aki into the thing he hates the most and and then killing power. And then afterwards we find out that he has a memory block, basically of what happened to his father. And all that made him basically supposedly give up on his dream. That's where we go basically into chapter 11. Or sorry, not chapter 11, volume 11 and chapter 11.
Volume 10 is, I think, chapter 84 is where I'm at, trying to find that bit with. Because of my contract with the Prime Minister. Okay, that's a
Yeah,
random
yeah, that's
sentence
Prime
to
Minister
read.
talk of the situation of, the whole I can't die because some random person in Japan will die instead. So I think it actually was none. I think it's in volume 10.
Chapter 84, volume 10. I and Shredder the Devil who carried out because of that he would
Oh yeah,
rule
here I
about
found it.
everyone.
You fought the weapons of devils and the four horsemen who now here, and the height of the battle you vanished before our eyes. This is volume 10.
Chapter
Chapter I'm looking chapter trying to find it.
84,
86.
86. Let me.
Yeah, this is 86 when Chainsaw Man goes to like this restaurant or like this lunch place.
That was
Makes a
such a
mess.
weird scene.
Yeah, because after this point, Denji, like, I think doesn't have control right now of the situation.
He really often is quite a different person when he goes into chainsaw form, even earlier
Yeah, but this
on.
is when but in this volume, yeah, no, in this volume, I believe it shows the door. Yeah, yeah, this I think shows the door that Makima breaks, making happy memories and taking them all away. This is this chapter. This is this volume, I mean.
It's a it's kind of weird. Like the series is a bit weird, but it feels like a lot of the time it's trying to be weird.
I mean, I would say Fujimoto is that's just kind of how the style they've written. I mean, we've seen it in Fire Punch.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I mean, if you read the first chapter of Fire Punch, and you know exactly what's happening.
yeah, with the whole beat
Which
my leg thing.
which was honestly interesting because Fujimoto made Look Back, which very good series, but it doesn't have the same. It's obviously I guess more real. I guess I can't even say realistic. It's still fantasy, but like it still more feels more grounded in reality in comparison to like Chainsaw Man and Fire Punch,
Yeah,
which I have to pull. If I wanted to talk about that, I have to get that, but
I took some
I don't own
screenshots
Fire Punch.
from. I took some screenshots, I think, because there was in with the bomber girl Riz, I think, when they
Sorry, what?
with the bomber girl in Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
Uh, when they first met, there was that whole exchange of, "Oh, you look like your face reminded me of my dog, and right before that, Denji ate the flower and then threw it up to give it to her, which is one of those things like, why would he do that? First of all, why would he eat a flower? And second of all, why wouldn't he chew it? Right?
I mean, I don't know, to be real. I don't.
Should we do some kind of fucking intro?
Completely up to you.
Let's just do a quick hello and welcome to a podcast that we haven't named yet. I think we
did name it. We did name it, I thought. Or we have an impromptu name for it.
Yeah, the Anime Vintage Podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the time being, it works. I'm not sure.
We'll change it later.
Yeah, because I did want to go with... what was it again? Because I wanted like a book club. But anime club sounds really... And we're not doing many books, so that doesn't work.
I would love to do some books, though.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. At some point, I should read some more.
I will give you recommendations, depending on John. You don't care about if you don't care.
Yeah. I really want to read 86 because I really like the anime.
You should read the light novels.
Yeah. And I heard the light novels go very far from the anime. The anime supposedly covers only a little.
Yes. It's basically, the anime covers volume 1. And then I think, was there a season 2?
Technically no, practically yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if that covers volume 2 or not. That's why. I know that the first season, part 2. Yeah, I think part 2 covers volume 2.
We should also probably present ourselves. I think we agreed on calling me Hestor. What would you like to go by?
I go by Ran, like Ran, Ariane.
Ren.
I thought we called you History, right? I think I was calling you History.
History? Okay, whatever.
Or as History.
Yeah, we're probably not gonna use each other's names much. We're probably gonna go with you, but for the people in the comments, like I'm either Weeb or Historian or Hest or whatever, and you go by Ren. Let me shout out your channel as well.
You can shout out for now, and then until I change it to channel.
What?
Oh yeah, I'm doing a new content, so I'm changing channels.
You're changing channel. Okay, never mind that.
Yeah.
Okay, and
I'm letting you know I am changing it.
Okay, and today's podcast thing is about Chainsaw Man. Let's see how much of the podcast is actually gonna be about Chainsaw, but
I'll say maybe 50%.
Hopefully, because I do have a couple of podcasts in another language on a different channel with some friends, and at some point we literally had to make a separate series, so to speak, honorary mentions, something like that, where we just talk whatever comes to mind.
That's completely fair enough.
We tried the same thing of let's start with a movie or a show and then talk about it, but we just go off into the mountains, so we made a separate series for random stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's literally kind of what the idea of when I watch Trash Taste, like they have a concept they do, and then they just kind of break it up to sections, so they talk about them and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Oh,
and I forget. What is your stance on? You said you don't like the series, or you do? I forget.
I'm not a fan. You have the whole Makima dynamic to kind of latch on to. I didn't quite enjoy or respect it that much, so I don't have anything else to really remember the series by, you know?
That's fair enough. Yeah, for me, I think that I enjoyed that aspect a lot more because a lot of the reasonings of the stuff that happened earlier made more sense, and I really enjoyed having that being able to be told. So I don't think Chainsaw Man is a bad series at all. It's definitely not to my taste, but it's definitely except for obviously the character driven. I like that, but
I feel like it fails at a lot of things that could have been changed. without changing the substance of the series, you could have rewritten it to be a bit better, so to speak. Like the first chapter of Chainsaw Man is just so on the nose. Like the whole, oh, my dream is to eat bread with jam, and then he meets Makima, and he's like, oh, what do we have for breakfast? Oh, bread with jam. Like it's just so on the nose.
The thing is, the reason why they're doing that is to set up the fact that he has nothing. Because such small things will make him happy. Because, I mean, in his situation, he's in debt. He has to sell his organs. He's basically working, I think, with like the mafia or something. I don't remember the situation. Is it the mafia?
Yeah, the Yakuza, the same thing.
Oh yeah. I guess yeah. And my brain is with the Yakuza, and then basically yeah, he has nothing, and because he has nothing, even the smallest thing can bring him joy, and that is maybe what Makima used against him. Because I mean, why not use the one if those? Okay, this is usually how it happens often with cults, with how you get people like it hooked into those kind of things because people are vulnerable.
I
Denji is a vulnerable person.
I agree, but it was a bit too coincidental. You know, like if it was about
Because
something a bit more generic, like I think I don't remember what anime that was. Uh, some with time travel murderer thing, regardless. And one of the
time
chicks,
travel.
one of the girls at some point starts crying because she was given a warm meal and she hadn't had one given to her in a long time. That's a bit more generic, you know, but to make it specifically about bread with jam and honey and whatever, and then have Makima be the exact same thing, it's a bit too on the nose. If it was something a bit less clear, like Denji just wanting breakfast or wanting to be given a meal by somebody, wanting somebody to do something nice for him, and then Makima kind of hands him some food at some point, and then they don't make a big deal about it. Uh, it would be better written from that perspective. You can keep the same substance there. That's why I mean with keeping the substance. You don't have to change that aspect of he wants something, Makima gives it to him. You can keep that. But making it so specific, it's too on the nose. I often compare it to seeing the strings in a puppet show. I know the strings are there. I'm never gonna think that the puppets are real. But I don't want to see them. I want to be pulled into the point where I can just ignore that, you know?
So you're saying it's too ironic that she literally just said with bread with butter and jam. She thinks it's too ironic that it's the same.
Ironic is not the word.
Or because she does say, let's see, bread with butter and jam, salad, coffee, and maybe dessert.
The first half of the sentence, I think, is exactly what Denji wanted. Coffee and dessert, probably not, but
Let me
butter and
see.
jam.
Because it's part of the TV, I think, that he talks about it. Yeah, apparently it's normal to eat your slice of bread with jam on it. Well, normal is just a pipe dream for us anyway. So he doesn't even have that. He's just eating bread.
Yeah, exactly. I don't
Yeah,
have.
but then,
It's a
yeah,
bit.
Makima says, yeah, bread with butter and jam, salad, coffee, and maybe dessert.
It's too much of a coincidence, you know, it's too convenient. You often have that in shows when just the right thing happens. Because imagine if Makima said anything other than bread with jam. I don't think it's all that common, right?
I mean, I
Especially
don't know about from Japan.
especially when they were on the go. You know, you're not gonna buy that from a convenience store. If it was something like a sandwich, you know, something more generic, maybe though even then. If it was something less obvious that hey, Denji wants something, look, Makima is giving that exactly. If she said anything else other than specifically bread with jam, would the series go the same way? Kinda. Well, Denji is kind of pulled along for the plot. He doesn't really have much of an active stance, but
No, he doesn't have much of a like in general, much autonomy.
even past autonomy from the writing perspective, you know, like him as a character could have relatively little power in the setting of the story, but he could still make decisions that would influence. Because I was talking about how I'm trying to write a script about how if you replace him with Deku from My Hero Academia, almost nothing changes, which is a problem because Denji and Deku are supposed to be quite different, but in practice they're kind of not.
Which I'd have to see your stance on that because, I'd have to watch that video because
Yeah, think
I
about
never really thought about it, so I can't really say I can have the same brain on thought on that. But
Denji is a bit more rude, though even then it's kind of surface level and often forgotten, because the whole backstory of him having that debt inherited, Deck would be in the same situation. Like he would wake up with debt. What would he do? He would probably try to pay him off somehow. Now, How does Denji go about it? He starts hunting demons. With Deku do the same thing, kinda. Why does Denji start hunting demons? Because he finds the chainsaw demon and he's weakened, and Denji tries to give him some blood to help him. That's exactly the kind of stuff that Deku would do. Then he tries to pay him off the sort of good faith way, working for it. Then the whole zombie thing happens. Would Deku do the same thing? Kinda, he would probably kill that demon. Then Makima comes up and is like, hey, you can either die or join the demon fighting corps. And he's like, okay. Deku would do the same thing. His relation with...
So you do think he would? You do think he would? I mean, I guess in this, if Deku had like potentially, yeah, because if you have nothing else, right, latch onto anything.
Though even then, even if Makima wasn't like, hey, you either join or die, Denji would still probably join because she's a woman and he probably hasn't seen a lot of those. And Deku would join because freedom and justice and whatever else.
Honestly, but I think if that was the case, I think that if they supposedly did put Deku in here, it'd be more something on heroism.
It would be what?
Heroism, like, you can save people,
Yeah, but even then, the anime cuts a bit of chapter 2, I think, when Denji goes in the forest and meets a muscle demon. You remember that?
Which demon, sorry?
A muscle demon.
Muscle demon.
I think it's right.
I'm looking.
Go to chapter 2.
Yeah, I'm looking for it.
Chapter 2, somewhere in the middle. What happens is that they
Oh,
hear,
yeah.
there's a monster
Got
in the
it.
forest. Makima sends him alone, which, first of all, how convenient, but let's ignore that. And then he sees the demon, he's like, oh wow. He tries to help them run away, which for Denji to do is kind of out of character based on how he was supposed to be set up. Because if he's all about wanting food and women and kind of all for himself, why would he just let them go? It doesn't really make sense with the Denji that we see later on, that they are trying to retroactively create. So again, would Deku do the same thing? Kinda. If he ran in the forest and saw a little girl playing with a seemingly good-natured demon, he'd be like, yeah, run away, I'm gonna help you, just go, He would do the same thing. Almost the only exceptions are that Denji is a bit rude and hits men in their nuts, which Deku probably wouldn't do. But from the story perspective, nothing would really change if he hadn't. Like his relationship with Aki would be mostly the same, or you could have it work mostly the same. Because Aki could just hate Deku for being too soft on demons, kind of like Denji is pretending to be. So he could still.
I mean, I still think that Denji would still try to help that person because literally, yes, when they found Pochita, like Denji wanted to help because they were. It shows literally
they're
that
the same person. The problem is that the Denji that we're kind of asked to believe exists isn't really supported by what we see him do. He did, when fighting that bat demon, yell at the woman to get out because he didn't want her to die. He helped a couple of demons. Like, Denji is overall a very Deku character, you know?
Hmm. I mean, firstly, for me, I just never ever thought about that kind of thing because, like, I usually, unless it's like directly like so obvious, you know what I mean? Like when I say so obvious, like they're already saying the same similar lines or right? It's by the same mangaka or something like that.
I
Like,
tend,
I don't know. I guess if Denji said something like believe it, I would literally be like, oh, Naruto.
yeah, yeah.
But I think that I mean, I can't say I don't have really a perspective if I agree or disagree with that statement because I really have never thought about it. So,
I often have a bit of a more of an overview view on the series, you know? I kind of look for things like that. Um, when I was just starting out anime, one of the things that I would do is that I would kind of put myself in the shoes of the character. And when presented with a choice, I would think, what would I do in that situation, you know? And that occasionally brought a few problems, like with Death Note, because early on he tried to kill a guy that I would not have, but irregardless. The problem is when the character kind of doesn't have choices really, or the choices he makes are very generic good guy choices. I want to see characters do things I would not even think about doing, you know? That's you can have direct characterization where you have other characters or the narrator tell you something about the guy, but I much prefer to see indirect characterization. I think that's higher level, you know, it's more complicated to do that right. And as far as indirect characterization is concerned, Denji isn't really a character. He's kind of a stand-in for whatever the plot needs to happen. And that happens with a lot of shows. That's why I see it, because it often gets on my nerves.
mhm.
And it's partly...
Yeah, yeah. But I also gotta remember that also in some formal way is just like if that's the case, then it's similar to a lot of other shonen
Oh, yeah,
series.
yeah,
Then
yeah, definitely.
it's yeah. I was gonna say then a lot of shonen series have. There's not a lot of series where the shonen protagonists are, I guess, evil. There are some, but like
It's not
there's
about...
not a lot. If you think about it.
It's not necessarily about being evil. It's about being different, you know? In the same circumstances, uh, having them make choices you wouldn't. But it's not necessarily just about good and bad. It's about how you go about solving a problem. One of my favorite anime, because I find myself in it, which I probably shouldn't, but the Hachiman, what was my teen romance comedy gone wrong, something like that. Oregairo?
Snafu.
Yahari
Okay.
Ore no Say no Love. Let me see that. My youth romance comedy is wrong as I expected.
Yeah, yeah, Snafu. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I love that thing. Mostly because I just love Hachiman, because he's another asshole. And
yeah. Yeah.
and he often made choices that I respected him for. I maybe would not have made them, though a lot of them I would have. But I really related to him because it was a lot of choices that I know most people wouldn't make, and I would, you know? And it's not necessarily evil, because a lot of the time he wasn't necessarily trying to do something bad or selfish. Quite the contrary. He was actively trying to help people, but in the way that he knew works the best, even if it's kind of rude, so to speak, you know?
Mhm.
So in that sense, he's not an evil character or anything like that, but he is different. He does make choices that most people wouldn't. And there's that saying that I kind of don't like, that um, the ends justifies the means. I don't really like that saying
Mhm.
because a lot of the time when people give reasons why doing that is bad. They give examples of ends, like, oh, ends don't justify the means because look, you just killed the guy. Yeah, that's part of the ends, not part of the means, you know? Like, the end result is that this happened, but also a guy died, and you can make a argument for that it's not worth the price that was paid. Uh, his means are just kind out there, you know? They're not what you would expect.
Yeah, so you just okay, I got it. But
I love that guy.
I also it's also a question because like again, I haven't really thought about the concept of like if Deku was in Chainsaw Man's world and if Deku instead was Denji kind of thing instead of Denji. But basically in the same setting, same living condition and everything like that, right? It's one thing it's to say is either way, it's still a bit difficult to say in this spec because a lot of people's personality and stuff it comes from the environment they grew up in, right?
Um, it's I'm talking more about uh, plot writing because it's not about Deku. Deku was just a very well-known character in the anime fandom that is seemingly relatively far from Denji. Uh, that's why it's funny to give him as an example because when you replace Denji with Deku and nothing changes, that's a problem, you know. Uh,
Yeah, this part is like I wonder though if it actually again the reason why it's harder for me again like I said to know and to be able to like completely say yes I agree with you would be the fact that is the idea of okay well if they the idea of well would the world itself change the person first of all and how what because of how you grew up and assuming that it didn't I feel like also at the same time with Deku they were very much like they do a lot of research like, you know they do all the research on the heroes and all that kind of you know you see them mumbling all the time about that would he not question Makima if Deku did if the personality did not change based on the environment Deku grew up with?
yeah,
It is the
the
same.
whole
I mean,
point is that Deku maintains the personality he has in that show. The idea is
okay, so the
how
environment. Okay,
no, it's the idea of how much the plot of Chainsaw Man is affected by the specific characteristics of Denji. You know, like
I
what
think it could change after thinking about it. There.
a couple of things would change, like the part where the Blade Demon guy is defeated and then him and Nike start kicking him. Like that would be harder to write in. But other than things like that, the big plot elements would probably mostly be the same.
I
And
still think though that with Makima again, if the situation if it would not change the personality, so so Deku in this sense would not be similar to Denji in the form of the environment, like how he thinks.
yeah,
I think that Deku would have questioned Makima more.
would he though? Because Denji does question Makima early on, kinda. But the thing is, the plot makes it so. What would Deku have to question? Like, what does Denji see about Makima that he would question? We realize there's a problem, and there's even people early on in the manga that say, hey, by the way, that chick's a crazy bitch. Stay the fuck away from her. The eye patch lady says that about Makima, but of course she does.
Yeah.
But what really does Denji get to see that would make him question her? We as the audience he see the whole Kyoto part where she brings in some convicts and does the hand potato mash thing. Denji doesn't see that, you know? We
But
as the audience see
yeah.
the part where the guy that gave his resignation says, by the way, hey, how much of this you anticipated. Denji doesn't get that, what would you kind of hint? He doesn't see that. He doesn't know that. So how much would Deku even have to question in the series? She,
I mean,
other than the facial expression that doesn't really ever change. That's a bit of a dead giveaway. Other than that,
I still think that even okay, so if okay, in that case, then if in the sense that oh Makima, so they wanted to know more, but they would more ask who Makima was because at that point they would never have heard of them before, maybe, right? So because again, Deku is very much a person who has a notebook and has all the information on the heroes. So it would if you've never heard of Makima before, definitely would want to know more about her. So I think it'd be more the sense of like, okay, getting to know her more, and not in the sense of the whole episode after, I think Deku would not be okay in that situation.
That may work if Deku was more conspirational. Let's pretend I said that word right. Because Denji has access to people like Aki, right? And if Deku was to ask Aki about Makima, he probably would be like, "Oh yeah, she's a nice lady. She helped me. She did all of this wonderful stuff." Uh, in many ways, Aki kinda is a Deku of this world. He's a bit more cynical, but he kind of is that archetype. So maybe
They want revenge.
yeah,
They want revenge.
yeah. But I think Deku wants revenge later on, right? He becomes that red thing, not Deadpool thing, right?
Huh?
Doesn't he have some kind of vigilante thing arc later on?
Well, okay, so that's the situation. Okay, there's a bit more to that than just he just decided he wants to go against everything.
Yeah,
It
but
has
you
to
see
do
where I'm
more
coming
with the
from.
fact that Ida's brother.
Ah,
Which again, oh yeah, I have 30 volumes of the manga.
I should read that at some point.
I'm trying to get all of it. I've already pre-ordered the special. By the way, there is gonna be a special Barnes and Noble edition for My Hero Academia Volume 42. Sidetrack,
When
but
I was rereading, I was kind of having this thought in the back of my head, like, what here is happening? That is happening due to the specific characteristics of Denji, that you wouldn't have happen if somebody different was there, and not much of that is there because at the end of the day, the plot pulls the character along and not the other way around. Things aren't happening because the character wants them to happen. Things are just happening around the character, and he's forced along because that's what the author wants to show us, you know? Which is just not.
over, yeah.
It's just not great writing in general.
I don't know. For me, when I don't know, this is like a me thing. This is a different, I guess. Everyone sees things different ways. If I was ever gonna put another character in the world itself, I wouldn't assume that their personality would be the same.
Yeah, but
That's just a different.
absolutely, absolutely. But it's about how the plot is written. I know that different
Yeah.
circumstances are gonna change the person, but this is less about how would somebody born in this circumstance end up, and it's more about how much does it matter that he ended up this way, you know? Like, okay,
Yeah.
Denji, because of all the circumstances, ended up the character that he is, but how much does that even matter? It's about writing. It's not about the world. It's not about world building. It's about specifically the writing of the story.
And yeah, and I don't always think about that sometimes. To me, I'm often thinking about how the characters, how the characters are and all that kind of stuff. Because that's to me, that is what I'm looking at when I read, less than how it's necessarily directly written. Now, if it's like so badly written, I literally can't read it situation. Like then yeah, that'd be easily noticeable. But like for me, like I usually think more of the character side because even as myself, I've written stories before. I'm more of a character driven writer.
Yeah, definitely.
So I see it more as a character for writing kind of thing. I never really thought about the writing aspect at all. So
I am often rather numb to a lot of this stuff as well, either early on or while I'm watching. The problem is when either something really bad happens that just pulls me out and I start seeing the strings, you know. At that point, I'm kind of very skeptical of anything that happens if there was something just so bad that it pulled me out of the experience. But a lot of the time, this comes as a retrospective, you know. It's not while I'm watching, I may very well not realize anything that's happening, but either after the fact or while I rewatch it, I do often start realizing more problems. I also have it as a kind of a rule that the first time I'm watching something, I'm gonna really try my best to enjoy it best I can,
hmm
because I know that if I'm very analytical the first time around, I might not enjoy it and lose out on that experience. It's kind of throwing out the baby with the bathwater. For reasons like that, I'm actually really scared to tackle 86 rationally because I love that series. I love the anime. I watched it like 3 times, I think. I love it. But there might be problems that once I notice, I will never be able to enjoy the series again. And I'm afraid of that, you know?
That is fair. But like, I mean, for me, I can usually separate that kind of stuff. Like I said, I don't. Chainsaw Man is not a series that I would read normally.
Sometimes I can. Sometimes I definitely can. Did I tell you the story with uh, Bro. Digibro? With Gate?
Mm, I think you've mentioned it, but I don't remember at this point, so we might as well just let everyone else know.
Uh, um, I think the channel Digibrom, which later became Digine, which later became unavailable, uh, had
Uh,
a, had an episode on Gate, and so the GDF fought there. Um, I love that series. I watched it. I don't know how many times, 5, 6. New season is coming out. I can't wait for that new season. And he made like an hour video where he was just constantly roasting just the first episode. And then he made another hour video where he was roasting the next 2 episodes. And the entire time as I was watching, I couldn't help but agree with every single point he made. And I still love that series. You know, like, it happens that I can just simply enjoy an aspect of a show enough to where anything else doesn't quite matter. I'm not gonna stand here and pretend Gate is an amazingly well written story, but I can also still enjoy it. But with other things, if I see a problem that kind of kills it, that's just kind of it. Sometimes it varies a lot, but sometimes it does happen that I just see a problem, and from that point on, I just can't help it. With Your Name, um, I couldn't get past the fact that they essentially fell in love without ever seeing each other. I just couldn't relate to that, and the moment I realized that, I just couldn't. It pulled me out of the movie so hard that I just couldn't care.
mhm. So I see. Okay. I was
Generally,
like, I can give an example of one that I could like, I really enjoyed, but I generally don't think it's a very good series. And I have the volumes.
that's the spirit.
Yeah, no, it's called, so in Japanese, it's Yokai Nissan. So, like, basically, like, Yokai older brother, basically. But in the English title, it is called Yokai Rental Shop. Now,
Yokai.
I'm someone who really likes yokai series, so it's no obvious, not or at least to me, it's no surprise that this is a series that I end up enjoying and liking. But if you think about it, it's basically just like Pet Shop of Horrors, XXXholic. It's like, and also it has a lot of pacing issues, but I still enjoy it. Absolutely, yes. Is it bad? Kinda, yeah. Like, how does that give enjoyment as a 9? How did I rate the story like a 5?
If you have certain strings that it can pull, that can happen relatively easily. Um, with what the fuck was I gonna say?
Wait, you put wait, your yokai Nissan it's just on Nissan
Yeah,
cars.
yeah. It's
Let's
actually
just
the
type in.
it's actually the first thing I was even thinking of when you said Yokai Nissan. I was
It's
like, a monster
that's
car?
so
Is
funny.
it about racing?
No, 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 no. Just type in yokai rental shop. That's the English.
Yokai rental shop.
No, yokai Nissan is the Japanese title.
Yeah, it's some bandaged man, woman with a lizard.
Uh, huh?
It's a guy with bandages on his face
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and the
That's
lizard.
Karasu, yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things. It's one of those things I'm kind of glad, at least on the surface level, that we agree on that you can separate your personal enjoyment of a thing from the quality of the execution of that same thing. Like we understand each other that when we say we like something, that we just like it, and that when we say something is good, that's different.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I agree with
I
that.
have a lot of problems with people that just can't grasp that concept. Like I have so many comments on my Frieren videos. They just talk about how, oh, you just didn't like it. No, because that's the thing. When I binged the series, I had like 13 episodes available. I binged the whole thing and I loved it. But then I had time to think, and the more I thought about Frieren, the more I realized that it doesn't make any bloody sense. And at that point, I also couldn't. Frieren is one of those examples. I really liked the first 13 episodes. After I had a moment to actually think about the series, I could not enjoy the rest of it. I just couldn't.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just not very well made. It has writing flaws that are kind of technical, like the substance. I can vaguely see why some people would like, but from any technical point of view, Frieren has huge
I,
problems.
I don't have the manga for that one. I feel like we get flamed for that one. I have this obscure one, but I don't have Frieren, so.
Should we talk a bit more about Chainsaw Man because we kind of went on a huge tangent?
I mean, we knew this was going to happen. Only 50% of it was going to be on Chainsaw Man, 50% was going to be on something else.
I'm not sure if 50% was about Chainsaw Man. Problem is,
No, most of it's been Chainsaw Man.
I have a few notes and a few screenshots that I took. Let me see what I wrote
Because I
down.
have another idea of one I would love to talk about of a different series, but that can be done on a different podcast.
My first note on the manga is that the first chapter is ridiculous and incredibly on the nose. That's the first thing I wrote about it.
Which you said with the whole bread and jam and butter.
It's just. It's one of those, like, very little of the substance needs to change. It's just how they go about a couple of the things. It's also a bit too ridiculous for my taste, though that might be me. The whole, oh, we eat one slice of bread. Like, it's. Regardless, though. They skipped the half of chapter 2, the muscle monster thing. And I think. I'm not
They did
sure.
skip that one, right, in the anime?
Yeah, the bit with the forest and the muscle demon. They just skipped that. It's not in there.
Okay, I know a bit, so for the anime,
I
for
think
me, because I've been, I'll be honest, I have not watched a lot of anime in a while since I don't have my Crunchyroll subscription anymore.
honestly
Ran out
neither.
of money.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I just haven't watched a lot of anime recently. I've been reading manga though.
yeah.
That I have been. It's upsetting because I really okay. I know we're getting off topic. I want to watch the next season of Apothecary Diaries. Anyway, back to what we were talking about.
I think that I'm not sure if the reason they skipped that half of a chapter is because they just thought it's irrelevant and can be easily skipped to get to the rest of the plot, or because it paints Denji in the wrong light for the purposes of the later chapters. You know, like Denji going out of his way to help some demon and her little girl is problematic with, that very memed on panel from later on when the trainer asked them, like, what did you feel when your partners died? And Denji said he didn't think much, and Power said that she thought, oh, they're dead. Then he asked, do you want revenge? Denji said that's kind of gloomy, and Power said something, no, that's stupid. And then he
Mhm.
asked, on which side are you? And Denji said whichever side is winning, while Power said no, Denji said whichever side is taking care of me best, while Power said whichever side is winning.
Yeah. Okay,
That
yeah.
that whole panel makes relatively little sense when you take into account that chapter 2 bit where he risks his well-being, he risks his status, the people helping him, taking care of him, he risks all that for the girl to just get out. Like, you can't have both of those, you know?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, but would the character think that? Because you also gotta remember, I don't remember what chapter or where that's. Is that early in the beginning?
It's close, second, third of where the
Okay.
anime left off, so chapter 20, 30, something like that, I don't know.
Okay.
Somewhere in there. I think it's after the whole. I think it's after chapter 26, where. Yeah, it's definitely after chapter 26.
Okay. Because, like, what I'm thinking of then is like, well, I see power. That. To be honest, yeah, that does that's the response by power is very power like. To
Yeah,
be
yeah.
honest,
She is kind of
100%.
influential.
Yeah, that's very character. I was like, that's 100%. Denji, but the thing is, again, Denji is going back to the whole thing of very beginning. He just wanted, he had nothing, so he just wanted something. So Denji's originally thing is, I just, the whole like wanting bread with jam and butter,
Which
and
is
wish I would feed him. Yeah,
which
because
is
that
true.
seems.
But at the same time, why does he go out of character to help the girl? You know? If his
I think
whole.
overall he's a good person in general because he some ways sympathizes with people because he himself, has a hard life. So I mean, right?
Well, that's the thing. He's actually kind of mostly a good person, other than being rude on the outside. And he's actually kind of smart. Like, he makes a couple of choices that I probably wouldn't have realized that I can have that option, you know? Like, in chapter 2, Makima asks him, hey, can you eat? And he's like, oh, yeah, no, actually, I can't. And so to make Makima feed him. And I wouldn't have thought of that, you know? Like, it's kind of smart. He can think on the spot. The whole idea with let me chainsaw the devil from the hotel until he wants to die, that's also a fairly good idea. He has a couple of fairly decent ideas. Like, he's not
I don't think
dumb.
Denji's stupid. I don't think Denji's stupid. It's just that he is. It's more of not he's stupid. He's just kind of he doesn't know about much about the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they try to make him out to be stupid, you know? It has that feeling of, oh, he's just a moron, you know? The,
Yeah, I definitely think that. Yeah, except what you because he. I guess simple-minded would be because like what he wants, his dreams, right? That's kind of what they play it up to be. It's like it's all he wants. But yeah, no, he definitely a lot smarter than.
Yeah, but even the thing with Makima to make her feed him, you know, that's a bit devious. If he was simple-minded, he would have been like, "Hey, can you feed me?" or something. But he was like, "Oh," he faked the inability to convince her to do it, which is no fairly smart.
I agree with that.
And it's not necessarily simple-minded. He has a couple of those. The whole trap he laid out for the trainer. Uh, it's there's a there's a gap between the direct characterization and the indirect characterization that we have from his actual actions. You know,
Mhm.
he is made out to be this character that cares about himself and his dreams, but he actually helps other people. Is willing to sacrifice himself to a degree.
Mhm.
That part where he ate the flower, like, why would you eat the flower? You know, like, it's there's a couple in there that are intentionally put there to be like, oh, look, he's a dumbass, when in reality that's not consistent. And that's one of those things that I really care about: consistency.
Mhm. That makes sense. Yeah.
What else do I have to you?
Is there anything else you have?
Well, he caught.
Everyone. So we'll say I'm not the greatest at like because originally this was your idea, so I don't actually know how something you want to talk about. I can just talk about all the stuff that I find interesting about Maki. And I know that a lot of people prefer. Okay, actually, to be honest, I'm not even sure at this point what the fandom likes more, like if they like Makima or Power more. But like, I
Depends.
find
Depends on what you mean by like, because definitely a lot of the fandom is more thirsty for Makima, but most of the fandom kind of agrees that Power is a better person. So depends on what you mean.
yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah,
Because I don't think you would find anybody to be like, oh yeah, that Makima chick, she's definitely a good person. Like it's not.
yeah, no, but definitely not.
Yeah, yeah. Though even then, I actually never really liked Power all that much, and I
Oh,
remember,
really?
yeah, and I remember talking with somebody about it, and he was like, "Oh, don't worry, she gets better later on." But I was up to date on the manga, so I was talking to him. I know the whole later part, but she's still kind of whatever, really, right? I think a big part of the problem is that we kind of see her, we get to meet her halfway through her transformation, and her transformation itself is kind of whatever, because when we see her, she's already kind of able to fit into society, where early on she was just more of a beast. And I think that
Yeah,
if we started off seeing her as a beast and we got used to her being that, then I may have felt like the change was more meaningful. But from when we first see her to what she does later on, it's kind of, you know.
got it. Okay.
Another note I had is that uh, people dying in this show is kind of overplayed. Like, there's so many characters that die around chapter 20, 20 25, 30. There's a huge.
Is yeah.
And the problem is that most of those characters we only knew for like 10, 15 chapters. And the eye patch chick is definitely the more meaningful of the bunch, but even there, we just didn't get to see a whole lot of her, and I couldn't really get attached to her. And I also couldn't. It's hard to feel the impact of her death when another six guys just died right before her, you know? If she was the first, maybe?
I mean, they tried to because like a lot of like, the contextualness is on Aki's side, I would
Yeah.
say. Because I mean, being like I was at their mentor, right? I forget the exact context, right? Was she pulling up the manga? I think was it teacher, right?
Yeah, she
Yeah, yeah.
was in charge of him when he just started out.
Like I definitely know more than anything, it's a big impact Aki as a character. So definitely is what the impact is for that. But oh, I know where the death scene happens. I know that. So, but
Then it's probably also a problem because I don't really care much about Aki. I never really liked him.
I actually enjoyed Aki more as I understood the story more and as I understood Maki more because basically with Aki, he at the very beginning of the story, he's very much like I hate devils because of what happened with the gun devil.
Yeah.
And basically Denji, well, yeah, is contracted with one and basically is partially one. So they had a little they had some fights. They didn't get along at the very beginning.
Yeah,
Yada yada.
the
But
very
actually, over
manufactured
time,
fights.
yeah, but over time, Aki ends up making a decision that, in the sense of way, like almost, I would say it's like giving up, basically giving up. The reason for his revenge just changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it changes from but and then it's ironic. that Makima turns him into the thing that he hated the most. Do you remember that part?
He becomes a demon?
He becomes the gun devil.
I don't quite remember. I
I
know
gotta
the
go find that section.
I know it was the whole another bit that I find just ridiculous where the future demon tells him that your death is gonna be the worst one. Do you want to hear it? And he's like, no. Why on earth would you not? That's information about the future. That's incredibly useful. Why would you not hear him out? What's wrong with you? Even if you can't do much, that's still, who killed me? Why did he kill me? Can we do something? Even if I can't stop my own death, there's probably still useful things I can do with that information, right?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm looking for the chapter.
Yeah, a lot of things also in this manga would be rather different if motherfuckers knew to chew before they swallow. With the whole bat demon bit, he eats the cat hole, he eats power wall, which why would you? Then the whole flower thing, like a lot of things would be different if the demons knew to chew. The power level, the power scaling thing is also kind of odd because, like, if all Denji needs to do is to bite a demon to rejuvenate, and all the demon needs to do to rejuvenate his bite Denji, that seems like a perpetual motion machine at some point, right? Like, how why don't they a lot of the time just go for biting, a lot of the time they just kind of throw swings at each other when they really what they should do is try to bite because that's instant health pickup. It's incredibly convenient that with the bat demon nobody died, not just Power and the cat. They make a point out of specifying that in that whole battle nobody died. That's again incredibly convenient. Oh, there's
I'm just I think I found the chapter. I'm just trying to think where it starts at. I know we see Aki in 78. In 78 Snowball Fight. As the Gun Devil.
78.
It's chapter 78. I'm just trying to see when he turns into one. I just know that it's happening there. I'm guessing it's probably at the. There's so many names on this one. Oh yeah, I remember this line. Gun Devil, I'll give you 1 year of the lifespans of the American people in exchange for I want you to kill Makima.
Yeah.
I just know that Aki becomes it in at least in 78 in Snowball Fight. And honestly, that was a huge impact. Like I think on Denji's character, like he had so much build up for that, literally of seeing him.
I think the transformations happens off screen because in 75 and 76 Aki is still normal and at the beginning of 77 he has a gun instead of a head.
Yeah, I'm wondering maybe it did happen. I'm skipping too quickly trying to find stuff that I'm missing it too.
I only vaguely
There is
remember.
literally a saying here. I mean, the UN power will be slaughtered by Denji after that the devil, and that devil's fear will be shall appear. So I'm guessing it happens. I'm guessing it. To be honest, it probably happens in chapter after that one. So 74.
No, I don't think it's 74.
Yeah, but yeah, I know. it was difficult, but yeah, but that's like when like talked about the death of people and how they're like impact. Yeah, it affects Aki as a character, but it changes Aki's effect. Like it works on him. But like I actually, again, like I said, after a while, I also did not like Aki at the very beginning when I first started the series. I didn't like him that much, but it came to like him more as a character the more I got to learn. Like the fact that like again, he is out for revenge for the Gun Devil. But the thing is, the reasoning for that revenge changes when he basically gets to know power and Denji. And then he eventually then becomes the thing that he's always hated. I mean, I enjoy that kind of stuff. That is for me, that I enjoy that a lot. And I think that's I guess I mean, okay, define good writing because like again, a lot of good in quotes good writing is also subjective too. But
Uh, I actually want to make a spreadsheet
mhm.
that kind of takes a word and then breaks it down into things that make up that term until I get to a point where it's very clear what that word means. Because if somebody says the writing is good, well, that can mean fucking anything, you know. Uh, I want to take the writing and kind of divide him into smaller classification like characters, plot, and then I take the characters. Okay, what do you mean? And there's kind of technique and there's content. Do you mean that the characters are interesting? Do you mean that they have meaningful arcs? Do you mean that they're made to be logical and rationally and consistent? You know, like I want to break it down as far as I can to have a huge list, so I can just kind of point at the word and be like, this was good, this was bad, and explain why very precisely. Uh,
Mhm.
a lot of the time with shows like this, uh, people like it, probably you as well, because there is some substance there that is very good, that can be enjoyable. If you ignore the, what would you call it? I used the word before, the technique, so to speak, right?
Mhm.
If you ignore the technique, a lot of the time you can. Did I don't think you did actually. The Blacklist or something. It's a live action serial. I didn't watch much of it, just bits on YouTube as it happens. A lot of what's happening there is that there is substance and things that could be cool if they were written better. But the problem is that a lot of the time, how they go about giving you the information is that the character tells you the information, you know? Like, there's this scene where this guy, this kind of a big mafia boss and a cool guy, so to speak, a lady comes in his shop and he sells her a lamp for like $200, but the lamp was worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, something like that. But the way
Mhm.
we find that out is that after he kind of haggles with the lady, uh, one of his acolytes come and like, did you just sell her that lamp that was worth $600,000 for $600? And she's like, oh yeah, you know. The way you deliver the
Yeah.
information in that show is very on the nose. It's very uninteresting. You know, it's very basic. It's very basic.
I
So
mean, go to literally chapter, I think it is 82.
where Makima monologues.
Mm. Yeah, it's literally yeah.
Did you watch Darling in the Franxx?
I didn't finish it, but
You
yeah.
don't have to finish it. Did you?
Same thing. The same thing with the whole like
Because there, the world building early on is amazing.
yes,
You get little snippets, things that happen that you kind of have to put two and two together and realize, okay, well, this is what happens. And then for the last 6 episodes that don't exist, mind you, that show ends at episode 18. A lot of characters just kind of up and tell you, oh, this happened and then this happened, and it's just so unrefined, you know, like the technique in that show drops immensely after the in the last quarter.
Yeah, everyone talks about that. Yeah, I remember that when the series came out from the beginning, and then when that came out, the whole discussion.
Yeah. And that's the thing, that when it comes to is a show good or not, where at what? Because it can be good at something, can be horrible at something else. Hi, cats. He muted.
Oh, hi there. Sorry for bothering. I'm just gonna be here around.
If you have something to say, do join. I talked to him before, and he was like, "Hey, can I join?" Like, sure, I guess. He may not say a lot.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, with cats or
Yeah, cats.
well, welcome.
I say hi to the podcast, cats.
Hi, podcast, I guess.
So that's why, and one of the first videos on my channel is actually about how I do not agree with the idea that you can objectively score a series. Like, you can't assign an objective numerical value to a show because, first of all, how do you rate it? What do you rate? What if a show has amazing characters but horrible plot? What if the other way around? What if it's mediocre at just about everything? Is that better or worse than being very good at something and very bad at something else? That's why I really dislike this idea of, well, it's well written, well, it's not well written. Well written at what? You know? There should be a bit more specificity in the discussion about quality. And when it comes to that, what do you think about Chainsaw Man? You said that the whole Makima thing is executed very well. What about other aspects of the show? Do you think they're well made? Do you just like them? How do you feel about the show?
I mean, the biggest thing for me was that. That is so again, like I said, this is not a series that I would normally ever read or ever watch in the first place. I must say, because it's not really,
Why
again, like I
not,
said,
by the
not
way?
my
Just
type
because
of.
of the fan service?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of heavy.
Hmm?
It's just not my type of thing.
I
People
just,
can enjoy it though.
I just never felt like it's heavy.
I don't know. I just don't like it that much. It's never my type of thing. Like I even feel comfortable with my dress up darling. It's the same thing.
I feel like that's more fan service heavy than this.
It's all the same to me. To be real. So it's just that's not my type of content I preferably enjoy.
Yeah.
But again, I still think that anyone can enjoy any series they want, even if it's like, for example, I did not really enjoy, or I could never really even watch all the High School Dead. I really could not do it. It just no, I could not do that.
It was a weird little show, that one.
But normally, I would never have read or watched Chainsaw. I decided to actually technically read it because I wanted to do a video on it. But that was mostly the reason why I was going to read it in the first place.
Yeah.
But I actually, while I was doing research for the video, which told me basically the ending of the series, basically, I didn't actually read the entire thing all the way through yet at the time. But but that part, just the understanding of like the breakdown of how the character like kind of worked for me. I like that. I enjoy a lot of the aspects of how characters grow and how characters change as someone who writes a lot of character-driven stories. So I enjoy that aspect with like that kind of content. Now, if I still think it's kind of weird that Makima in chapter 82 does announce why she did the things she did, I mean, it's kind of weird, but how do you show that? You know, in a way, like how do you is it a question you want show not tell? But how do you get her to show that, not tell that? I mean, you do get to see her show it by her actions, by everything that's already happened previously with Aki's death, with becoming the thing he hated, to giving him. Well, first of all, okay, let's go back actually before we can go into that. For even okay, literally in the chapter, it literally says what she was gonna do with him. It explains exactly what happened too. So like,
Could
go
you?
find it.
Oh yeah, if you could
It
find
says
it.
here, yeah, it says so I began, make you a lot happier. Basically, gave you a job, money,
Uh,
fed you delicious food, gave you a family, with Aki and Power being a part of that family. And then after that, make it a way to take it all away. So yes, she is telling him all of this stuff in chapter 82, but it happened already. So like it's weird because technically, yes, you don't want to necessarily want to show, not tell, but you gotta think about it. Technically, it was shown, but not all together, I would say. Basically, Aki turned into the gun devil and had to be killed. Then Makima killed Power. Well, bang. That makes killed Power in front of his eye. And then from there, she gave him food. She gave him the family. We saw that at the very beginning of the series. So in my opinion, that is showing and not telling. But then it gets to telling when it hits to this chapter because everything is now we're getting in the whole okay, why this is all happening situation. But innately, what already has happened. So I think I'm not sure. Could the audience? Do you think we could induce that? You know what I mean? Could we come up with this is what was happening if Makima didn't say? You know what I mean? Do you think we could have?
Perhaps there's also a point to be made about if the plot is too convoluted to the point where you really require somebody to spell it out for you. Perhaps you made a mistake somewhere there, like also I think a big part of it is how loosey-goosey the entire world kind of is. Like with the Blade Demon thing, the first time they fight, he dies, and then the Snake Lady comes up to him and just kind of stands up for no clear reason. You know what I mean?
Where is that?
I might have.
Because I know that how devils work. Basically, they live in like two kind of worlds. They can live in the underworld and on the interior plane. And we even explain this when Denji has a conversation with Power. The next time you see me, we'll probably be enemies, but please bring back the old Power. Because basically, devils don't actually die. Only two ways they die, and the two reasons is that the person stops fearing them or Chainsaw Man eats them.
Yeah. Which also, by the way, why do demons die if Chainsaw Man eat them? What is the logical through line there? What is special about the Chainsaw Man where if he eats you, you cease to exist? Why
and that I don't know if they explained that or not. I don't remember. I just know that is just how it is.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of things in this show that are just kind of how they are. You know what I mean?
But that's also, again, it's a fantasy world, though, too. It's like, well...
It is, but the problem is that when you have a world like this, where a lot of things are just kind of are because they are, it's kind of hard to accept rules and think there's a bigger purpose behind action, If they were a bit more strict, if other things were a bit more predictable, chapter 24 near the end, second third, is where he just stands up. It doesn't seem like she feeds him. He just kind of she walks up to him and he stands up because he was killed by Aki with the curse devil, which I'm not even sure how that works. If rules were stricter and we always knew that there's a purpose behind most things, then it would be more likely for people to theorize and kind of think about it. Like, okay, I see it coming because I've seen rules about this, or maybe with Makima, kind of foreshadow it by showing her having other plans that come to fruition through sacrifice of others and things like that, You can definitely foreshadow it and you can definitely make it seem reasonable and expectable, but you have to create a system where that works. If I read your story and I kind of am left with this feeling that things happen because the author wants them to happen, then I'm not really gonna try to think about what's even gonna happen, because I know what's gonna happen is whatever the author wants, you know. If I feel like there are rules about who wins and loses a fight, I might be like, oh, I think he's gonna win because I think he's gonna lose because. But if the fight is usually decided by whoever punches harder, then I'm not really gonna try to theorize, because I know the author is gonna come up with a reason for the character who wants to win, you know?
But also at the same time, even with that to be true, there can be way more substance to the thing, right? So
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
example specifically, I know you're making a generalization, right? But like, I also want to make, since you are making a generalization of that specific, well, let's take Saitama from One Punch Man.
Yeah.
But like, it's interesting writing because more of the fact that the reason it's critiquing more of the almost the aspect of video game culture, or as well as a form, the idea of what happens when you become so strong. How does the world feel like to you? You know what I mean? It's interesting in that way too, you know?
I'm
But
not
they
sure.
also don't take it in the same vein, you know, as like
I'm not
the
sure.
overpowered isekai stuff.
I'm not sure that critiques the point I was making, because do you ever in Saitama wonder who's gonna win? Like,
No, we know who's gonna win, but it's
eh,
more. But even then, yeah, I guess it's true.
no, because
Yeah,
the
in
point
that
was
sense.
about when you try to make it seem like there's reason behind it, you know. Like with Saitama, we know from the get-go that he's gonna probably kill just about everyone he ever fights with, if he wants to.
Yeah,
That's not part of the question. The problem is where you kind of try to build suspense. Like, oh, is he gonna die? He's the main character. He's not gonna die. I know what kind of show this is. You know?
yeah. So the whole plot armor.
Yeah, I have no problem with Saitama. Is written beautifully. It's
Yeah,
amazing. It doesn't have this problem. In Chainsaw Man, I'm not sure again if we ever really feel like Denji is in much risk, right? Like, he's probably gonna be alive for the rest of the manga, most likely.
trying to think because I'm trying to think about that actually because I'm trying to remember because I mean, we get that feeling in like chapter 11, not chapter 11. I keep saying chapter in volume. We get that feeling in volume 11 when Makima supposedly when Makima literally rips out Denji's heart, I think was heart. Because every time Makima literally gets cut, she doesn't die
Yeah.
because of the contract she made. But then at the very end of chapter 95, Denji, we see Denji die.
And he gets revived by power. Was that what it is?
Yes, basically, I think that little bit of blood that he had left of power,
Yeah.
I believe. Basically, what she did was she pulled out basically Pochita because Pochita was Denji's heart at this point,
Yeah. I'm there.
and Power's blood allowed him to stand up again and take a chainsaw
Yeah,
and
it's
cut her again.
yeah, it's one of those situations where, of course, the author's gonna find a way for him to survive. You know, like, let's be fucking real.
The only question I had about this and is that Makima every single time did not like die because she had a contract, right? Her contract basically is that when she is fatally wounded, someone else, a random person in Japan, would instead, right?
Yeah.
So how did she die here? Potentially, like, she gets cut, but she shouldn't have like died there, in my opinion, because like, I mean, I don't know. This is the one part that did get me a little confused when I was reading it. I do remember was that she is
Did she
cut and
die?
she let her guard down. Yeah,
Because she doesn't
it's
really. Like, or
well,
does she
she
go to hell
becomes
and come back?
I this is the part that I'm trying to remember because like it's very much like it looks there's so many aspects of it looking like that Denji ate her. It's just because it's showing him eating right after that and saying, "Is this how you taste, Miss Makima?" That is said. But then we also get the aspect of this new person who is basically the embodiment of Makima.
Yeah.
Basically, Nayuta, which is Denji's, I guess now in quotes, adoptive sibling, I think it was. I don't know the situation. I haven't read past much of it. but I do know that basically Pochita wants basically the reason why like I think Pochito's trying to explain like at the very end of this volume that Makima overall wanted someone to be like almost like a friend to be able to hold and hug someone and actually be able to all that kind of stuff, but could not be. Because it says I think I'm trying to find it. Yeah, here. The control devil, she always wanted to form an equal relationship with others.
The control devil, that was it. That's why I
Yeah,
didn't really
she could
remember
only
her
form
as
relationships
conquest.
through the power of fear, so she always longed for something like a family. That's the kind of world she wanted to create, even if she went the wrong way. So you created that world for her, okay? And give her lots of hugs, which is shows him hugging basically almost like his it's even a like fake sister of himself, but basically a new person, basically that's basically Makima, but not Makima. The control devil. But I'm not too sure of how that transformation happened from Makima to this new person, because again, I have not read past 11. So this is something I just don't know
She
and
was.
would be probably explained later.
What they say is that she was found.
Yeah, but the question is that it supposedly shows that he ate her, at least based on the end of chapter
Yeah, definitely.
96. It
But
says that, it's how you taste Makima. But it's interesting for me because how did she lose in some way? Because yes, he called him. Okay, so I know the Power's ability allowed him to do something.
perhaps
Yeah,
it's
because I made that chainsaw from Power's blood and making it run amok inside her. But if she supposedly died, right, she would not actually die because another Japanese citizen would die instead. So
yeah.
I that's just the one part that I didn't understand.
It,
But that's just maybe
it
me missing something.
and it's probably one of those hair pulls where they're like, okay, what now? And that's just kind of what they came up with. Let's invent a new rule
Yeah.
by which he wins. You know?
I mean, if someone in the comments ends up writing that, I might have missed something when I was reading through it, so that
Definitely.
happens.
My best guess is that either her being a horseman gives her a
Yeah.
special status. Either that, or it's a case of his power to eat a demon kind of overcoming that power for somebody else to die, right? Because it's kind of it's over that cycle. It's in a different range, so to speak. Like, yes, I'm not killing you, I'm erasing you, so to speak. There's a
But
bit of that.
if Makima was erased, then we would not have a second control dome.
Yeah, but it could also be a case of because her status as a horseman, that you can't just erase that demon, that it's so intrinsic to the human
If
experience that even if you kill it, it's gonna come back different.
Well, if that's the case, then that means it's something it's going to be talked about later in the books that I have not read
Perhaps,
yet.
perhaps.
Because the reason why it's like it's weird is I don't know, because can you really? I mean, again, it has to do with fear, but that means people would no longer fear pestilence or conquest. That's what Makima is, being the other horseman.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That is, again, it could be something that's either explained later in the series or is just something I missed. So, which could happen. But that's just something that, again, it's something aspects I actually liked more, or I appreciated a lot more, is when like a lot more stuff was actually put together. It's like, now that makes a lot more sense of why all this is happening and stuff like that. Because I feel like in that aspect, it wasn't being told until the point that she actually told it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I struggle a lot, even myself, just like when you show not tell, and like how you do it in a way. I know that one thing's for sure that it is done. Telling was done very well in Steins Gate.
I vaguely remember Steins Gate.
I mean,
I
Okabe is
remember the
literally
head that she gave me.
yeah, because Okabe literally tells the entire situation, but in a way of like in front of a camera at the very beginning of the series, I think it was. But like it's done in a way that it's not like overly weird. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's done well. This is for context. This is of the anime, not of the visual novel. I know I have the visual novel. I just haven't had a chance to play it because currently I just bought the manga. So I now I'm going to be owning the first volume of the special edition, of the Barnes and Noble edition of Science Gate, and then I own 1 through 3 of Zero of Science Gate Zero, and two of them being the special editions of Barnes and
I am deeply
which
afraid of playing that game. I barely understood the anime.
really, really okay. Well, I mean, okay, wait. Okay, so I know we're getting off topic, but what part? Okay, what ending did you see? By the way, in Science Gate anime, because technically they made two versions of it.
I couldn't even tell you. I
So
I
ending changed. The ending didn't change because they made Zero. So what they did was they replaced it to be the Zero to segue into Zero. So now I need to know because I know we're getting off topic again, but like what
you
ending did
mean
you see?
you mean whether the redhead lives or dies?
Yes.
I I'm fairly sure I saw the one where she lives.
Okay, so that is yeah, okay.
Cause,
So
cause
I
then I
actually saw the
went.
other one. I didn't know that there was a good ending. I did not know that. I knew there was one in the visual novel. I just didn't know in the actual anime that there was. So I found that out recently. And I was blown away. It's like, bruh, where can I find the original? Because now I want it. Because Crunchyroll has the one that segues into Zero.
Cause I
And now I was
remember.
upset about it.
I remember specifically watching the beginning of Zero and being confused to hell and back as to what is even happening. And then I read
Got
online,
it.
that it's a second season based on a different ending from the light novel. Because I was like, okay, why is she dead? Because she was alive last time I checked. It was one of those.
So I didn't know that she lived, other than I knew it from the novel, like from the visual novels. I knew that it was the good ending. But I didn't know that that happened in the anime because I thought they were purposely segueing it into Zero.
Yeah,
But I never, because again, Crunchyroll has the version to Zero and not the original one.
I
Has
watched
the
the
beta
old one.
timeline,
Yeah.
which actually I just found out that this year, and I've watched Steins Gate like a long time ago.
Me
So I
too,
was actually
actually.
upset that I did not know that because I know it's an alternate universe that explains when you do play. Or I can at least say if you read the manga of Zero, it does basically segue into the part where it changes and alterates. So, for the longest time, I thought that's what the anime decided to choose so it could make the second season into Zero, but it's not true. So my brain was like, "Bruh, where can I find the original?"
I not on Crunch. I don't watch on Crunchyroll for sure. Maybe it's
Are you
just a
good?
case
That's
of
just something I
I'm not
that's
sure
just
I
something I
had.
noticed.
Yeah, I'm not sure I had it available when I watched that actually, because I watched that a long time ago.
That's yeah, because I know that Crunchyroll has the other one now. And when I watched it, it had that version, and I was like, I thought that was how they ended it. You know, kind of like how they did Tokyo Ghoul. They.
My God, is that confusing as well?
By the way, we did get an announcement. I think they're doing something with Tokyo Ghoul.
Oh God, just
I
let
don't
it
know.
die.
I don't know if it's like I'm trying to remember what the announcement was I saw. I don't remember if it was like a live action or it was no, it's not live action or live action. I think they're doing a remake or some form or something. I'm not sure.
Hopefully,
I don't remember to be context. So, oh yeah, I think they're actually no, I need to look it up to look.
another note I had here is just not xenophore much. I think that was a comment on the bomb devil girl looking a lot like a xenomorph.
Yeah, I think they're making a remake. That's what I'm looking at. But to be honest, hyped, and I hope they do the actual thing. But that's what I just saw. I was like, oh, I think that's what it was.
I think there's a bunch of
Anyway, we got
stuff coming up.
slightly sidetracked, but that's bound to happen.
Yeah. At least
I'm
we're
not
still
usually one
talking
to talk
anime.
about one series.
At least we're still talking anime. I had way worse.
Oh no, I will stick with the anime manga or manhwa or
Manhwa.
I'll stick within the same vein of that usually.
Yeah.
Unless it's like so like unless there's like a reference or something, I don't know, like K-pop or something. I don't know. Usually it's still in that vein. Very rarely I'll talk about something else. unless it like makes sense. Like, if, for example, we're talking about a manhwa about BTS, we might as well talk about you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Any final thoughts on the Chainsaw Man? Because I think we
I
said
mean,
most of what we had to say. I think.
do you have anything else specifically you want to say? Because like I feel like I enjoyed it in the sense of like the character, but overall still believe that it's definitely not something I would normally would read or watch because of the content itself. I will just say with how a lot of the mainstream animes have been, it's mostly battle shonen, and which I guess nothing wrong with that. Like, people can enjoy what they want to enjoy, and I have no problem with it. You can enjoy what you like as long as it's not like very, very malicious or sus. You know what I mean?
I'm kinda salty on the whole solo leveling because I really love the manhwa and the anime is kinda whatever. I was getting comments on one of my Frieren videos. Some guy
Mhm.
in the comments was like, "Hey, this guy doesn't deserve to have an opinion. He thinks solo leveling is a masterpiece." And I was like, "When did I say that?" And I had to rewatch my own review of solo leveling, and I never said anything like that. My whole review was, man, they kind of messed it up. And somehow I got this status from like four or
I
five
mean,
different people.
maybe because you said you like the manhwa or the novel.
Maybe, I don't
I don't
know.
know if you did. I wasn't paying. I mean, I don't know. Also, I believe that the person should have said that because I think anyone can have an opinion. It's just whether you agree or disagree is different. You know what I mean? Like yeah, I've had people who disagreed with my stuff before, and I say, hey, and I disagree with you, but I think your comment is still valid because I think everyone deserves to have their own opinion, whether you agree or disagree with it.
There's a bit of wiggle room in my book in that range because you can have your own opinion and be wrong. Right? Yeah, you have your right to your opinion, but you can also just be wrong.
I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, again, I had my opinion on how the My Hero Academia one thing was. I liked the ending of My Hero Academia. Controversial, I know, but I mean, like, again, it stated. Of course, she literally was talking about that Deku became the greatest hero, but the whole point of the series of it was to prove that what heroism really is. And at the very beginning of the series was all about fame, fortune, and all that kind of whatnot. Because we saw like Mountain Lady, and all that. And I forget her name, but she was basically just literally during the whole internship arc. I forget. She was basically at photo shoots and whatever. I don't remember her name, but just showing that whole idea of this is what heroism is, but really what heroism should be is helping people and that anyone itself can be a hero. And while a lot of people were upset that Deku like literally became a teacher and thinking that they were betraying and he didn't become in quotes the greatest hero, but teachers are also heroes. They teach the next generation, and like I think that it's subjective to say what's considered the best hero, the number one hero, because the whole point of the story was to prove that that is not what heroism should be about. You know what I mean?
There's two things there that I'm considering. That for one, maybe the problem is more so that the early on they gave the impression of going away and then they switched and went the other way and people were like disappointed because they expected something else, at which point, yeah, if you tell me you're gonna bring me some chicken and then I wake up with some fries in my plate, it's not that I hate fries, but you told me it's gonna be chicken, so it's a bit of a
Of of the situation, it says basically I this is the story of how I became the greatest hero.
yeah. uh
But like, what is that mean to be the greatest hero?
yeah. uh, but again, early on there is that entire thing about being the number one in being, it's not very introspective early on. So if you expect a battle shonen standard thing and you get delivered not that at the end, it's kind of a problem. I watched like 2-3 seasons and for sure a lot of that remains very cookie cutter battle shonen. So to take that rug pull at the end is a bit not as wise. There's an argument to be made there. And also, as I was saying about Game of Thrones, maybe it's a case of the content isn't bad, how we got there and how you executed it is the problem. Because we could have Deku become a teacher if you wrote it better. What's his guy? There's a comedian. I'm blanking on his name. Louis C.K. Louis C.K. in one of his specials has this bit where he is proud of making the audience clap at a dead baby. You know, like
Dang.
the punchline essentially of that bit is dead baby, but he managed to build it up such so that that managed to be funny. You know, because the bit is about how he's on a plane with a baby and somebody looks back at him like, could you do something about that? And he's like, oh, sorry, I didn't realize. And he kind of mimics how he kills it. And the way he made it was funny. Now, if you give me just the facts, that's weird. But if you see the bit, is interesting how he managed to get that to be funny, you know? So it may be a
Yeah,
case
I do
of
agree.
that.
That is interesting.
Yeah. Is it a case of poor delivery on that concept that really pulled out a lot of people, and they are expressing it as them not liking the ending? Or is it really a case of kind of promising something and deliver something else? You know, those are my two.
I'm not sure in that sense, because to me it feels like that was the message.
It could
Because
be.
they showed this old world and then like showed how it changed. You know, the idea of the whole stain, the whole stuff was stained and everything. To me, it felt like that was going to be that was going to talk about, like that was the main centric of the true plot of My Hero Academia, other than obviously the fight between One for All and All for One. Was the fact of the hero, what does it mean to be a hero and the hero organization itself? You know what I mean? To me, that's what I saw the series at.
Yeah, you definitely could write a series that has the basic plot bits of Deck wanting being a hero and then ending up as a teacher and having that be an awesome series with a very satisfying end. Maybe it just wasn't executed very well. Maybe that's just it.
I'm not sure. Because again, we'd have to talk about that in a separate video, obviously.
I would
but
first have to read the entire thing, which is probably...
I'm working on it. I only have 30 volumes, and I already have some of it pre-ordered.
Yeah, well, I watched some of the anime, so I'm even more behind.
I know that the anime is finishing pretty soon, so...
Yeah, it's good then. I'm not sure if it's close enough to the manga to where we can have a discussion from those...
No,
different
it's ending,
perspectives.
so actually to it's the final season.
Yeah, but did they cover everything? Did they change something? You know, there could be meaningful differences.
That's fair. That's fair.
If we were to make an episode about Tokyo Ghoul, I for sure can't watch the anime and you read the manga and have a productive discussion.
Oh, I've watched the anime and I've read them. Okay, I've done both of them.
So you can see where I'm coming from. If you had
That's
only read the manga and I only watched the anime, we can't have a discussion. Like, what are you going to talk about? The first 3 chapters?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Some of you can. If it's like that stark of a difference, yeah, you'd have to do both.
Yeah.
But I definitely think for some of them, they're pretty almost 101. So, like, I would love to have a conversation with you to talk about what is it? Was it The Eminence in Shadow? 100% would love to, because
I love that.
Okay, I love the series. I hated the first episode.
Of the anime?
Yes.
I vaguely remember that.
As someone who reads both the novel and the light novel, and then has watched the anime, the anime is great. Episode 1 doesn't exist in my brain.
I watched the manga. I read the manga and watched, I think, most of the anime. I'm not sure if I watched all of it.
Yeah. I don't think I finished it because I had this with the situation of it's not on Crunchyroll. So it's on High Dive, and I think I had like a month or so. Or I don't remember. I didn't watch all of it because it was still coming out at the time or something. And then I didn't have, of course, the subscription for that long for High Dive. But I hated the first episode like the plague. Because someone who's read the original, I understand why they did it, but does not mean I like it.
We can add it on the list. I can go and rewatch the anime and reread some of the manga, and you'll probably do the opposite, and we can go from there. So next episode on the Eminence in the Shadows.
kind of cool because I have so much gripe with the anime in that sense.
On the first episode only, or
Yes, first episode only.
one thing I can definitely say about anime versus manga. Perhaps it's due to how I read the manga because I would read a chapter every 2 weeks or whatever because that's how it came out. But the manga was kind of confusing in terms of the plot. Like a lot of the time, I had no idea what is really going on. But the comedy was awesome. While in the anime, the comedy is not as well executed. It's a lot of the time a problem of timing, but the plot is a lot easier to understand. You know, I actually felt like, oh, I know what's going on,
Mhm.
which is an interesting side grade. You know, it's you still have reasons for both. Like if you watch the anime, you still have a reason to read the manga because you're gonna enjoy the comedy more.
Yeah, and I was also someone who read the light novels too.
Is
So I
the
actually read the novels first.
is the manga faithful to the novels? Should I read the novels instead of the manga?
I mean, I think the first couple of pages are funny in the manga. You know how he looks, right? You know, in the whole idea, oh, I'm supposed to be not so like, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't exist in the light novel, but that's hilarious. Like again, it's I think you should. I mean, I always think you should always read the source material too.
Yeah,
But like, I mean,
definitely.
again,
Man, the whole idea of him wanting to be better than a nuclear bomb and
I know
his
that's hilarious.
and his solution being hitting his head on a tree.
Yeah, and also become the atomic bomb.
Yeah, my god,
It's
is that
hilarious.
hilarious.
I know. I love. Okay, no, I love that series to death. I want to. Okay, I own these series digitally. I don't actually own these physically. I want to own them physically. And I probably will get the novels first, to be real.
I own very little physically. I have a volume or two of Overlord, and then I have All You Need Is Kill, both the light novel and the illustrated adaptation. I don't have the manga yet. I should get the manga and a CD of the movie of Edge of
Mhm.
Tomorrow. And it's actually funny enough. All You Need Is Kill is one of the few light novels where I think the Hollywood movie adaptation is in many ways better. Not in every way, but in many ways. It's one of the few.
Okay.
Paprika definitely is better than the Hollywood adaptation.
I've been wanting to read it. I have not read that one yet.
Paprika or
No, the All You Need Is Kill.
it's it's okay. Did you watch the movie? Uh,
No, I would have to. I was gonna read it.
they are very different to the point where
Okay.
I honestly if you were to choose only one, I think I would more so recommend the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
There's a couple of
I
things
need.
that I definitely like more about the light novel, but they are not necessarily better. Like in the movie, the melees they fight with are machetes, kinda, while
Mhm.
in the light novel they are huge battle axes, and I love
Oh, interesting.
axes, but machetes make more sense. So in a way, it's better than that the movie went with machetes. On the other hand, I love axes. What is my axe? So it's one of those cases.
That's fair.
The movie is honestly awesome. Like it's great. It has a couple of places it kind of shouts out the original material, but also kind of explains how it chooses to do its own thing. It's honestly a really good movie. It's one of the I think it's the movie that I rewatch the most. I still occasionally rewatch
Mhm.
it. If you get an opportunity to watch it, really do. I'm not sure what the legal status of it is over there, but it's really a good
That's
movie.
fair. Yeah, I mean, okay, like it'd be switch. I just don't have the what is it? I don't have the subscription to anime anymore right now because I don't have the money for it because I bought too much manga.
Well, this one isn't an anime, so
That's true.
it's a movie
Still
with.
stand by my conviction.
It's a movie with who the fuck is his name? Tom Cruise.
Oh,
It's honestly a great movie.
fair enough.
I have no idea how you would go about watching it over there, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
I don't know what the legal channels are for that.
I'm not sure either.
Let's just say I went to India to watch it.
I see you decided to go the seven seas way,
Yeah,
the high seas way.
yeah. Hey, it's the Balkan way.
It's just kind of my thing. I generally try if I can to try to buy stuff, but if I try.
I try as well, but we can't really afford it as much over here.
Yeah, it's not any better.
And there's a difference. There's a meaningful difference.
There's definitely a difference, but like again, it's subjective to location, right?
Definitely.
So like definitely I don't disagree that it's really hard to get it wherever you, but also it's manga for here has gone up in price. So yeah, I guess it depends on like you know.
I like how I started with any final thoughts on the Chainsaw Man, and we started talking about Age of Tomorrow.
That's usually how that goes though, right?
It's how the cookie crumbles, isn't it?
Yeah, halftime, yes.
I also wanted to complain at some point about there's a page where Denji talks about how oh my god, did I lose my humanity? But I really disliked that bit. It was really poorly made. I think it was played more for the joke. Did I lose my humanity when I lost my heart? No, you helped the muscle lady. You helped a lot of people. You didn't lose nothing. In a weird way, I really related with Denji there, because after half of his team died, he didn't cry. But I didn't cry either, because I just didn't care about any of those people. So it's like Denji being there like, oh my god, did I lose my heart? No, you are in a poorly written manga. That's the problem. You don't care about them. Guess what? Neither do we. Or at least neither do I.
That's interesting, actually.
Yeah. I was literally rereading the manga, and I already re-forgot most of their names, you know? Like, honest to God, there's the eye patch lady, yeah? Who else died? Do you even remember?
No.
Exactly.
Aki and Power.
They were alive. No,
Makima.
early on, like around chapter 25 something, in that segment when they get attacked by guns and the katana devil. Do you remember any of
I'm
those
drawing
people?
a blank. I'm also not the great, to be real, I'm not the greatest at remembering things.
Even
to be real,
then.
so like well, either way, I'm saying I'm still bad at remembering either way. So like,
Yeah, fair. So you don't recommend this manga, do you?
well, I think people have different tastes, and I personally don't like this series in the sense of like I don't like the fan service. Yeah, you may not think there's a lot of fan service in it, but that's not really my type of thing. I enjoyed with the aspects I enjoyed, basically.
Yeah, that's always something that I made a point when I try to review something. Like if I say I don't like it or I don't recommend it, why? You know, like I don't like it because you don't like it because of the fan service. I didn't like it because the technique in the writing. There's always the reviewing template that I make is always like recommended for whom, like who would you need to be in order to enjoy this manga, because often there's things that somebody out there is gonna enjoy for various reasons. It may not be for me, but it can be for someone.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So
but the question of do I recommend it to people? I mean, again, I think that if you're interested in a lot of battle shonen and I think that this would definitely be another series that you would very much enjoy. If you like a little bit of answers, yeah, I think you'd enjoy that. But I think, yeah, if you're interested in like, like you said, like the stuff the writing you're talking about, then maybe not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a way I try to put it occasionally. It's not do I recommend it, but rather who do I recommend it for?
Yeah, I think to people who want battle shonen and like more darker and edgier kind of thing,
Yeah,
I think would really enjoy the series.
that was definitely something I wanted to specify. It's a bit darker and a bit weirder. You know, it has a lot of moments where it tries to be weird.
Yeah, if you like that kind of stuff, then this is up your alley. Like,
Yeah. Well, tune in
which
next
really
time.
enough. Yeah,
Tune
definitely.
in
Tune in
next time
time.
to Reminisce in the Shadow.
I really want to talk about Adventures in the Shadow because
God,
I
do I
will
love this
rant
fucking
on
show.
episode 1.
My God. How do we end this?
I thought we just ended it.
Professionalism. I think I'm just gonna cut it there. We forgot to tell Cats to say goodbye. Oh, Cats, you here still?
Yeah, my bad.
Say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye, people.
Perfect.
I keep it simple. Yeah.
Get to add that they forgot to say this.